everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Collective. I'm your host, Tiara Williams, along with my two co-hosts,
Natalie Fikes
and Hudson.
And today's topic of discussion will be discernment. What is discernment? Who gets discernment? How can discernment help you in your life, and how can it help other people? How do you grow your discernment? Just different questions concerning discernment. But first, I want to formally introduce my guest, Ms. Natalie Fikes, who is just such a ball of fire, motivational speaker. She's a mother, she's an author, and she's just always making us laugh every time we have our discipleship group leaders meetings. And she's just a blessing to have on our show today. So welcome.
Thanks for having me. Your discernment is on point.
All right, so we were going to do some icebreakers today, but we decided against it, and we'll just have that on the next episode. But let's just go ahead and get right into our topic of today about discernment. So what is discernment? Does anybody?
Well, I don't know the technical definition of it, but I would just say just being able to, I guess, see through things and just see things for what they really are. Like not believing in too much other things, but just seeing things exactly for what they are, and to see things that people don't, like the other people really don't see.
I agree, and for me, discernment is not using your senses, but using your spirit,
Right.
to reach a conclusion, to draw a conclusion about things.
Yeah.
Because it's really easy to pass judgment or make a decision based upon what you see, and a lot of times it's not what you see.
Right.
It's that what you feel is what is connecting with your spirit that knows the truth and really responds on a deeper God-connected level.
Right. Would you all say that with discernment, it's a mixture of knowledge mixed with wisdom as well?
So that's exactly it. And I feel like, really, honestly, if everybody has it, if you were to go and, like, if it's like nighttime, and everything's dark, something should be telling you I probably shouldn't open this door. I should probably wait till I get more light or something like that. So just really putting yourself in, like, in those type of situations, but with all walks of life.
I like what he said in regards to everyone has it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe because it's almost like some people are more have it or some people don't have it. And it's really just knowing that you have it. And the more you tap into it, the more it just becomes a part of who you are. Versus some people have it, but some people don't.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has it. And then to be born again is really how you connect it.
Right.
Like plugging a light into a socket, right? It's like you have the light, but you don't have the source.
Right.
And so once you become born again, you get the source. But then once you have it, you need to know that you have it and access it when you actually need it.
Right. Why, as a leader, do you feel like it's important to, because we all lead groups, why is it important to use your discernment and just practice using it as a leader?
Because people crazy. People are crazy. Oh, we gonna pretend that people ain't crazy. No, people, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We wrestle against principalities and powers. So you need to know that that's not just a person sitting in front of you. They brought something with them.
Right.
And you need to discern where they are, because how you say something is how they receive it, where they are, that spirit is going to determine how they receive it. So if you haven't discerned where they are and they say something, you might react or respond in a way that had you had discerned that that's where they were, it wouldn't have turned into something, right? You can discern a spirit of offense. You can discern a spirit of argumentative spirit, you know, those type of things. Like if you pay attention you will know, because people are crazy.
That's true. That's true. And it makes a big difference when we're talking about helping each other within our groups and just being there for our members. Because if we don't use that discernment well, then we could just be missing out, and we can just be doing a disservice to the people in our groups who need our help. So it's always good to practice that discernment.
What's the point of them coming if they don't get what they need?
Right.
Right? You come crazy, you leave happy. You know what I mean? That's the whole purpose of the discipleship group.
Right.
I have to discern that you have a situation going on. That's the whole purpose of you coming here.
Very true. Okay. So I guess we just tapped into this question a little bit, but how can discernment change or save someone's life?
I'll say Bishop kind of said it on Sunday. He was saying how you respond to things, and how you, like, when you listen to things, you have to be able to listen to what people don't say. So if somebody could come to like a group meeting or really just try to reach out to you or anything like that, and sometimes you can really tell when something's off. So I say, even like for Natalie, you talk often. I'll say that. But if you were quiet or something like that, very, very quiet, I would have to believe that something's wrong. Or even like if you were in like a relationship or something like that. If you got a boyfriend and girlfriend and you ask like an open-ended question, you keep getting these short responses, you know something's off. So it's the same exact thing like when you're in like your groups and everything. If somebody's acting not like their normal self or antisocial or just being, I say, not in the group but outside the group, then you know something's wrong, and that's when you should really step in.
That's a good point. So discernment comes from God, no?
Yes.
I say yes. I mean, He's how we were made. We know right from wrong. So that's not gonna. It's just only so many different things that we can be taught. But God He's already gifted us that when He made us. So knowing right from wrong, we should basically really know right from wrong. I say that.
It definitely comes from God, and I believe that discernment is our superpower as born-again Christians. So without discernment, I feel like we're connecting more to the flesh, to the person, instead of to the spirit of the person, which is really what changes people. It's what we want to connect to. We don't want the flesh. We want the spirit, and we want to strengthen and sharpen the spirit. And so, one, it causes us as leaders to know we are 100% codependent on God. Without Him, we are nothing. And knowing that we are intentionally here to feed the spirit, so that when the spirit and the flesh come up against a situation, that the spirit is able to win.
That's true. So you spoke about sharpening that discernment. How would a person who is trying to get closer to God, trying to be a really great leader, how can they sharpen their discernment? What are some tools that they can use to do that?
The Bible. We keep negating the most important thing. He left us the cheat sheet. It's the Bible. Every answer, everything we possibly need is in the Bible. But we need to read it not from a place of, I need to read my Bible. We need to read it as like a manual
for our lives.
For our lives. Like, I need to know how to do everything God's way. If I have a thought, I need to go to the manual to make sure that thought lines up with God's way, right? And it's not to go there to prove somebody right or prove somebody, like, we don't use it properly. That is the only thing that we need. And then it should be off the pages and inside of us. That's how you sharpen it. You should never think that you know so much. You should be so codependent, like oxygen, on the Word of God. That's the only way. And to truly desire relationship with Him, and to really truly be intimate in relationship with someone, you have to know them. You're not even questioning if that's God, because you know.
Right. And then you have to be in communication with that person too. You know, just like with any other relationship, like we speak to people, we're speaking now. It's like you have to be in constant communication with God, you know, and you have to be able to even discern His voice, you know, from your own, and just be in constant prayer too, I would say.
But that's the thing is, God, He's allowing us to use Him as practice. So if you can't discern my voice, how are you going to discern it in other people? How are you going to discern those spirits? So He's like, take the time and work with me, so that when you get out there, you're sharp. Right? Practice love with me. So when you get out there, you're sharp. Because if you can't love someone that you see, then how can you love me? So do it in the reverse. Practice on who you can't see, so that the people that you do see is easy. Right? So that's another tool. You got to talk to Him. Right? So you know His voice. My sheep, they know my voice. Practice.
That's what I was really gonna say. I mean, for me, what I've been doing lately is definitely reading the Bible, but involving prayer with actually reading the Bible too. Like, I know God has given us so much of the Bible that we still have to seek Him for the underlying things. I almost look at the Bible as not like a layered cake, like there's different layers and everything like that. It's all good.
That's a good example.
But it's just different layers with it. Like, I know how Jesus, he spoke a lot in parables, but only some of them were actually revealed, so you can actually know the meaning of it. So it's like, for us to know like the meaning of what this means or what that means, we have to read the Bible. We also have to pray too. Like, I know before I even start reading the Bible now, I just kind of pray to God to open my heart for understanding, so I can understand all the things He wants me to understand. So when I actually get put in these positions, or I say periods of testing, I know exactly what to do.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah. So when it comes to relationships in general, how can one use discernment to be a guide when starting new relationships and ending old ones? Natalie, this is an all you question, because Natalie is apparently, she's very well versed in relationships. So
listen here. You know a tree by its fruit.
That's a good one.
Yeah, good.
Period and point blank. Okay, so discern that. A apple cannot become an orange because you want oranges. So we have to know what we're working with, what we're dealing with, right? You know a tree by its fruit. That's just a simplified version. And relationships they first start with you. So if you're not 100, don't expect to attract 100.
Exactly.
Let's just start there.
Right.
If you're not 100,
you have to be comfortable with yourself. You have to love yourself, you know?
You have to. And so it ain't even that deep discernment. Is if I'm not okay, I'm just going, that's the picture in which I'm pouring out of. And so if you're attracted to me, then I have to assume that you're not okay. Let's just keep it real. We don't want to look at it like that. But if I'm not okay and you're attracted to me, because magnets attract magnets, then I have to assume that you're not okay. But we don't
what if you're not attracted back though?
What if what?
I said, what if somebody is attracted to you and you're not attracted back? It's like,
Right, because people gonna come sniffing, right? That's why you discern that that your magnet and my magnet don't mix.
We repelling each other, right?
And so it goes to like one of the things that I would confess is that I am no longer going to love people just because they love me. because that's how I ended up getting into some relationships. And so there was no discernment involved. It was just like, oh my gosh, like you love me for real, and I want to be loved. But when you prepare for what you want, starting with yourself, and then you're clear on what you want, you can discern that that's not the thing coming. And that's discernment 1.1 because you see it coming, it's not that. So you can easily not even attach yourself to it, right? So discernment is necessary early in relationships. And remember, if it ain't from God, you don't want it.
That's true.
It goes back to, looking like a snap, you know what I'm saying? And that it. And then God, I've actually done it. I'm like, God, is that him? is that him?
Right.
And he's like, nah. And it's like, shoot,
Yeah.
But I can't even go there. But that goes to the communication. It goes to your word. You need a man after God's heart. You need all, like,
Right.
You know a tree by its fruit. And you can't, people don't just change like that. They don't just change. They'll try. But an apple is an apple and an orange is an orange, and they don't produce the same seeds. Know what you're dealing with.
I mean, I say for me, it's kind of tough. Like starting relationships is tough for me just because I'm not really a shy person. I just observe a lot. Like to have, like, for me, I guess what you can say now, like a time of discernment, so I can see like where are you really like in life and everything. See like how close you are with God, and is this really the relationship I'm supposed to have? Not even just like between like boyfriend and girlfriend, just as friends, or even sometimes like not family. It's like, is this really what I'm supposed to be at? Is this really what I'm supposed to be planted at? Or am I supposed to just plant this seed and keep it moving? So that's one thing for me. But then at the same time, it'll be ending relationships too. Just because I know how God sees us, even no matter what we've done, like in the past, or even what we're currently doing, he still sees the little bit of good that we have. So I try to still have that same attitude towards everybody else. But then at the same time, it's like what you just said, a good tree,
a tree bears fruit.
A tree bears fruit. So I tend to try to see, even like for, I say some of the worst in people who I've had relationships with, I still try to see that good, but God just may be saying it's time for you to kind of move on. And I say even like for this past year, this is really what's been happening with me. I see people moving in, I see people moving out. And that's really just been like, I guess, like the house of my life lately.
So the exiting part is one that most people struggle with, right? It's like death. It's like the grief that comes along with death. And so what God showed me was like a train station, and that we're all on this train, but we all have a destination, right? And everyone's destination isn't the same.
Right.
So I grew up in New York. It's like, you take the F train from Queens all the way to Brooklyn, but you 42nd Street, you get off, and then there's the A train, the E train, you got all of that, the E train to Brooklyn. But there are certain stops that each one of us have to get off. So my thing is, we're having a great conversation and we're having a great interaction, but are you not going to get off on your stop to get where you need to go and end up with me? You know what I'm saying? So we have to allow people. Life is really more flowing like that than not. And so I question a lot of people. Some of the people that struggle the most that I coach with, I've known this person for 25 years. We hang all this other stuff, and somebody in that relationship is stagnant because it's too consistent. That's not how God operates. He be like, Abraham, go here. Then you and Lot are together. Now Lot gotta go over there. Then you gonna go back and get Lot, and then you gonna have to. It's like always changing. And so if there's something about, if everyone is together and everything is together, then this says that my life is great. My relationships are great. And it's like all relationships are not meant to be that way. So a part of discernment is, are we all getting off at the same stop? And if we're not, we need to discern where we need to get off at. So instead of breaking what we can untie, we can just like hit that button, prepare, and then get off.
Right. And be okay. Like, you know, like everybody, like you said, has their destination. And if somebody stops talking to you, if somebody has decided that, you know, I'm focused on this thing, you know, and they telling you, you know, my life is just taking a different turn, just accept that and just move on. I think a lot of people have a very hard time, like, accepting that, you know, like we all have different stages of our lives, and we all have, you know, things that we need to change or we need to work on, and it just, you know, I think people take it so like personal and they get hurt by it, but it's not necessarily towards you. It's just that person is in a different space. And I think if people were to take it that way instead of taking it personally, then, you know, they would have a better time accepting it.
I totally agree.
I feel like people don't want to admit that they may be a distraction in other people's lives.
That's a good one.
So it's like even for me, like I wouldn't. If someone told me that, I wouldn't take offense of it, just because I know God just has them on a specific path, and He has me on a specific path too. So it just is what it is. It's not like there's any love lost or anything like that, but it's just like what God has designed for each other. It's just going in two different directions. There's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, it's just, I'll be glad that I actually realized that, or somebody told me that, then us that can kind of continue going down the same path, and then next thing you know, we got to retrack and reboot and do all these other different things.
Yeah. All right. Have you ever experienced a time where you felt like God was pushing you to build a relationship with somebody that you really didn't know, but you were discerning that?
Man, that's all He doing these days. He's like, man, I'm like, oh man. We think we know what we need. We think we know who should be in our life. I don't even think people sit down and say, who's supposed to be in my life, or who do I need in my life? But what we don't realize is that relationships are habits, their behaviors, their perceptions, perspectives, their experiences. That's what relationships are. So when you get in relationship with someone, it's like you're marrying those habits and those behaviors and perspectives, and they're just some behaviors and perspectives that God knows that I need in my life for this next level.
Right.
But because we tend to be attracted to certain behaviors and perspectives, that's what we lean towards. So it's like, now go over there and play with the kids over there. And I'm like, oh, what? But I'm understanding that they have tools that I don't have, that I need to be around, and vice versa, for the next level of my life. So He is totally doing that right now. That is my question. You discern that one right. And but it makes sense, because we kind of like those who like us,
Right.
type of thing.
Or
and
those who reflect things that we see in ourselves.
Right. So
Could be good or bad.
good, yes, because Judas was on the team.
Yeah.
Judas was on the team. You will have a Judas. But he knew Judas was going to betray him. That's the problem we have, is we're like, I can't believe you did that. He knew Judas was going to betray him, but Judas pushed him more to his purpose than Peter. He said, Peter, chill out. Y'all get behind me. They chopping ears off and stuff. Chill out.
He was a ride or
He was
die.
ride or die. And he was like, no, I came to die. You know? Yeah. So you just have to discern and not be turned off. I used to have a PhD in cut folks off. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, you're not supposed to cut them off.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to know that you can't do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to know, discern. That's that discernment. Jesus said, knowing what was in the crowd's mind, what their intentions were. Jesus did. So though that's the discernment that we're talking about. You just got to know. So I know that there's some people I just don't fool with, like on level 10, but God needs me to, at least in the lobby area.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I'm open to it.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't even say cut them off. I really just say just kind of cut them loose. It reminds me of when, like, after Jesus was resurrected, and I think it was Mary who saw him, and Mary was just kind of clinging on to him, and Jesus was basically asking Mary, "Why are you clinging on to me? I haven't ascended yet." So basically, he was just kind of saying to her, "It's like, I'm not going anywhere, anytime soon, at least for this present moment. Go tell everybody else the good news of what you just seen." So that's when I think that's really how we're supposed to do things. It's not saying that, I don't love you any less, or we just have to permanently be apart. It's just what you have to do right now is different from what I have to do. So it's like, with Jesus, he still had to go, reveal himself to other people, but Mary was supposed to set the stage up for that. So it wouldn't be like, this is just a joke and I'm just playing with y'all, that Jesus was resurrected. Like, this actually happened. I seen him with my own eyes. So now when you do actually see him, you understand that Mary was telling the truth the whole time.
and that she was playing a role, but they were separate from each other. See, we want to be together all the time, but it's okay for you to go do that while I go do this, and there's nothing wrong.
Right.
There's nothing wrong.
Right.
You don't have to feel any type of way.
Right.
It's just things are changing.
Right.
And we're together, but we're not physically together.
Right.
That's
Or we may not talk as often.
Yeah.
Or, we might not even see each other as often.
But then you talk to that person you haven't spoken to, and you're like, hey, and then 3 hours later, it's like you never missed a beat, right? It's okay.
Yeah.
Even I'll say, you have to understand like the other person too. Because if I was looking at it from Mary's point of view with everything while she was clinging on to Jesus, I'm just thinking about like just seeing everything from her eyes. As worse, like, I've seen where you were getting beaten. I seen you were crucified. I seen you were actually dead. So now that you're alive again, I don't want to let you go. And that's really how a lot of people are like in our lives. I really don't want to let you go. But it's not us going our separate ways forever. It's just for this moment of time.
Right.
I'm going to need you to not cling to me.
Correct.
Like, straight up. We have to set those clear lines that says, like, this collective thing is all cool and everything, but I still have things that I need to do in my day. So as great as this is, we're going to have to wrap this up at some point. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that, like, it's cool, but I have a destination that I need to get to. And people that are clingy like that will never get it. There's nothing that you can do about it. There's just some people that it's like, you need to be at my bar mitzvah, you need to be at every single thing, baby shower, everything that I do, and if you don't love me.
Yeah.
I can't help you.
Because it's just like, okay, well, why is one person that important to you to where it's like, I can't, or they get angry with you. It's like, well, I'm this type of way with my friends. It's like, well, not everybody is that way. Not everybody is, just a phone call away where, like, we'll get back to you. But, like, I don't know. I
asked for that free subscription relationship. Like, give me the right to upgrade my subscription. So free means that
Just
don't check for me. We just trying this thing out. Don't but the gold member, That's the one that has to be at the bar mitzvah and all that other stuff. I didn't sign up for that. You know, listen, let the dead bury the dead. I might not even be I might not even be at your funeral for real. I mean, you wasn't there. You're not there. You know, like
You're not there.
No, I'm serious.
I know.
I got a speaking engagement. I can't. You not there.
Yeah.
You're like not there. So when I get there, when you're not there, then I won't be late because you wasn't there anyway. That sounds crazy, but you know, I didn't check that box. I didn't check to be at your grandma's funeral. I didn't even know her. Really, first time you brought her up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But to me, like, that's just a funny thing. That's just a
I'm
funny
so
thing.
serious.
Like, just as far as like being in groups, that's really how it could be, because you just never know the impact you have on somebody's life. So even for me, it's like I consider myself as like I'm not an usher like within the church, but just like within groups. Like, I'm just here to help you to get to who you really need to get to.
Yes.
So don't, lean on me and try to cling to me for things. It's like I'm here to help you get to who you really need to get to.
I'm the middleman.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. And did y'all see how I slowly scooted all the way back? My back, my nigga, my back. I slow walk, rewind it back. And I think that it's important for us to remove the middleman. Like, I know you love me, I know you love being around me and all that other stuff, but without him, I'd be a hot flaming mess. Don't get it twisted that without him. So what I'm saying is, how about you build that relationship with him? Because that's the spirit that's running through me anyway.
Right.
And get his spirit so I actually like you back.
So we can connect
So
better.
we can connect better. Because that spirit right chill is not gonna work. Right? And then the other thing about other people being around is that we are out here, we're supposed to be making disciples, right? So we're in these personal relationships that are taking up our time, our energy. So we really can't be there for others. As a discipleship group leader, most of the ministry happens outside of the group. That's when you pick up that phone and you call them and you're checking on them and they brought something up and you making sure to remember it. I can't remember if you always in my ear and always, all of these, it's distracting.
Yeah.
So I need to be there for these people, because showing up to their baptism and showing up to those things actually matter to the people that you're responsible for.
Right.
So responsibility over everything.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah.
I do. And God will, once again, give you the discernment to know who you're responsible for, who you're supposed to be, like, checking on and, just building a relationship with. There's different levels to relationships. So, God will give you the discernment to know what level that is with different people. Yeah. So, you want to add anything, Zahn?
I mean, the only thing I was really thinking of is just knowing what's important and knowing like what could be tagged on, like I guess at a later date. Like you were saying, like with somebody's baptism, of course that's important. I should be there for you. If I wasn't, then I feel like I wouldn't be the leader who I need to be. But like say for instance, if somebody wanted to meet like for lunch like 3 or 4 times a week, like I may not be able to fit that in my schedule. I can't do that all the time. But for these milestones where you really need somebody to be there for you, just to show you how important this is, then that's when you can kind of really do that.
There's a difference between discerning when they need something.
Correct.
And feeling obligated. I don't feel obligated to do that. I don't even feel obligated to have a hairline. I don't feel obligated to do nothing.
She got that invisible hair flip.
I'm trying to tell you, and because people as a leader, they'll try to, like, you need to and have to and all that other stuff. Get thee behind me, Satan. We are not doing 3 to 4 times for a lunch. Right? Because you have to create healthy boundaries.
Right.
And you literally can go to God and talk to him about everything. And mine be like, hey, what's going on with your daughter? She done called me about 16 times. What's going on? And he'll be like, she is going through something, and it's like, okay, answer. Or she don't want nothing. God is funny. Like, he talks to you where you are. He's like, man, she don't want nothing. She don't want nothing. I'll send that quick text message. You good? Yeah, I was just checking on you. No, you tried to trick me. Spirit of discernment.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
There's a lot of people out there like that.
Oh, yes. So when you walk in discernment, you don't walk in obligation.
That's a good word. That's a good one. So, last question. So, how do you handle a situation where a person who you used to be connected to is trying to re-enter your life? How would you use your discernment on that?
I just gotta pray about it. To be honest. I mean,
And what if y'all didn't even have like a bad falling out? Y'all just somehow just.
Well, I say if we didn't have a bad falling out, it's kind of different. I feel like that door will always be open. But if we went like separate ways because of a specific reason, like we really just don't need to be in each other's lives, then that's when I really have to kind of pray about it. Just because there may be somebody who's trying to get in and they knocking at the wrong door. You need to go to that door. Yeah. I'm here in this space. You need to be somewhere else.
Well, the spirit and the flesh are at war. Because I work with that Six Flags model where there's no re-entry. You come in this way, you go out, and then you would need to get a new ticket to come on back in. But then there's this part of me that's just like, I don't recall in the Bible a whole bunch of coming back.
That's true.
I don't, that's the only comeback that I know of is Jesus.
Yeah.
So until Jesus come back, you won't. Amen.
But
you won't be coming back.
The only thing I can think of was
Abraham and Lot.
That's what I was just about to say. But you know what happened with the salt and everything.
You see what I'm saying? And it's a difference. Ooh, don't get me started. Because it all goes back to relationship. Is they came relationally. When he left, he was community service at that point. He went to help. So it's a difference between coming with me, being with me, and me actually going to help you. I'm open to helping you at all times.
Okay.
But to come back in the inner circle, the upper room,
right?
No re-entry. I don't see it. I haven't. If it ain't in the word, I ain't got nothing for it. I ain't got nothing for it. The only one came back was Jesus.
Yeah.
And no one knows the hour of the day. And you won't be coming back. Because it all goes down to seasons, really. It's like, we might have been cool here, and that was necessary. But now you come back, and I'm at a totally different place. I really don't know the value that you bring, or the place I have for you, or how I would bring value to you.
We're two different people.
Yeah.
Like, how do we even start again? There's nothing for us to even, like, connect about. I mean, or if there is, it's very little, you know? So.
Sorry.
I say I kind of look at it like if somebody is trying to re-enter, it's like, I always look at it as ministry, like how am I supposed to help this person
community service
get to God? But that's it. It's like, that's not necessarily saying they're supposed to be here for a long time. Like, that re-entry may last 5 minutes and that's it. That's just a quick convo we have. You need to go to church or something like that. And just keep it at that, just because where we at beforehand, it was not good. And I'm not trying to go back to that season either. And you don't need to be there either as well. So let's just keep going down the same path we were going.
Yeah. Well,
it's going to be a no from me.
Oh, Lord. I hope y'all don't get the wrong idea from this video.
I offer no apologies.
Well, you know, okay. Well.
Use your discernment.
Yeah, use your discernment.
Did you have any questions?
How do you discern when it's your season of ministry in an area, and then when it's time for you to leave that ministry and move into another area of ministry?
I mean, I would liken it to a job, because in all actuality, I feel like a lot of our jobs or our careers are ministry. We, you know, And so I would say you always kind of know when stuff just keeps going downhill, like, oh, it's my time to, bow out gracefully. And so I would just say, in that sense, if you look at it as, your job or your career, and they're just not working the way that they should be working, or you just feel like, I have to go, I got to get out of here, my joy is not there anymore. The peace that I had before, I'm not getting that no more. I'm not growing. I'm not feeling like I'm making a huge difference or impact anymore. Then that would be some great indicators to, moving on.
I would say, like, kind of comparing it to like working out. Like, if you're lifting weights, if you keep lifting, say like 50 pounds or something like that, like after a couple months, I don't think you're really building. It's just endurance. But if you're really trying to strengthen those muscles, then you have to go like the 60, 70, or 80 pounds, something like that. So just kind of comparing that like to ministries, like when your time is up, and this is where I have to be now. Mm-hmm. Like I know some people, like I can just say like my own example. Like when I started I started in discipleship groups, I say this, like this is my, within any type of ministry, this is like my first. But as I was getting to know more and more people, like as soon as I met them, it's like, can you join this ministry? Mm-hmm. Can you join that ministry? And I'm like, this just isn't fitting me. Mm-hmm. Like I say, for me, it's like I'm not going to do well in child care ministry. That's just not where I'm at. I'm not going to do good in the choir. I can't sing like that. So it's like you just have to really know where it is that you're supposed to be. And I say, just using like my discernment, what I do is I always pray about everything. Pray about everything, and if God is really telling me that this is where I'm supposed to be, and this is where I'm supposed to be. I can remember on Connect Day, I was walking, like I guess to the big area where all the different ministries were, and I was really going to go join a different ministry, but I got stopped along the way to join the telephone ministry. Originally what I was going to do was join the altar workers ministry. So it's like they kind of stopped me about it. They said that they needed, they just said they just needed more men about it, and they said it's kind of funny, we just prayed about this. So that was one thing. It's like if they just prayed about it and I'm already in church and this is where God's supposed to have me, then this is where I'm supposed to be. Now since joining that ministry, it's like I hear nothing but positive things about the telephone ministry that I knew nothing about before. They were like, I hear people saying this is really one of the most important ministries we have at the church. People who are coming to give their life to God or reconnect their lives with God and everything. And that moment may last just that Sunday. So it's important for us to kind of go back and reach out to them during the week as well, just to let you know that this is a family here, and God is really here for you, and we want to show you that. We want to show that to you.
So that resonates with you.
Mm-hmm.
He started smiling.
Oh goodness. Well,
Good
this
stuff.
is a great discussion, everybody. Thank you, Natalie, for joining us. We hope you come back many times, but use your discernment.
I will, because you live in the witness protection program.
I forgot about that. So I hope you guys enjoyed our discussion, and hopefully God will, just give you some more insight into discernment, and I hope that he increases your discernment as well. On that note,
Stay serving.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. That was good. Y'all know, y'all is connected to the word.